Hello, everyone, and welcome to another iWorkinSport live interview. This is episode number 3. We've been doing this for 3 weeks straight. Hope you're enjoying it. I'm having a blast, so I'm having a good time with that. The idea of iWorkinSport interview is actually to bring you accomplished professionals in the sport business, recruiters, that will be sharing their knowledge, experience, tips, advice in order to help you succeed in your career, right? Today we have a very special guest. I'm going to talk about her just in a second. Just so you know, this is being live streamed on Facebook and on YouTube. We have already some over 30 people and growing in both platforms. You can, of course, send comments at any time. We'll be reading your questions and your comments throughout the session. If you're here for the first time and you don't know me, my name is João Frigerio. I'm the founder of iWorkinSport. And also, if you don't know iWorkinSport, we started as an event. We were the first truly international career fair in the sports industry. We've grown. We're now a larger platform. We have 3 events. 2 of them are digital, and 1 is actually coming up soon. So this is it, the iWorkinSport virtual job fair. You should check it out, iWorkinSport.com/VJF. We will talk a little about that as well. In fact, if you're interested in this type of content and want to support the channel, and please give your like, subscribe to that and to the channel. Well, on YouTube, I'm talking about now, and you will have the alerts for the next interviews. And in fact, we just reached, I think, 400 people the last week following us. If we reach 500 before the event, we'll give you a free ticket. We'll draw a free ticket among everyone that is following the channel. So if you're already following the channel, you can ask some friends to do it, and then you will enter the draw as well. If we do 600, I'll break the bank, and we'll give 10 tickets away to people to attend the job fair. Now, please, we'll check some comments that are arriving here. Hi, Salome. Thanks for being there. Regina, Robert, great to hear from you. Would be nice as well if you put where you're watching from. That will be super cool for us, and we'll have you on the screen. Our guest today, as you know, is Vanessa Tribet. She's an entrepreneur, event organizer, headhunter, and career coach. She's the founder of Outdooria.ch. I'm gonna bring her in. Hello, Vanessa. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
It's super cool to have you here. Let me just have a click here. There is Sophia is watching from Spain.
Oh,
I know
hello.
that Regina, hello, is watching from Brazil. Hi, Salome. Where are you right now? Let us know. And if you want to send your questions as well, as I said, we'll be taking them during the talk with Vanessa. But Vanessa, thank you so much for being here. Let's start talking about you, right? Your a little bit about personal, but also your career and what led you to create Outdooria. So if you can just give a quick introduction about yourself.
Yeah, sure. First, thank you for the introduction. Indeed. Well, what I can say at first is that I've been living in Geneva for 10 years now. Before that, I was living in Germany, England, France as well, as you can hear from my French accents. And what I can say also is that before sports, my first love was biology. I have a diploma in genetics, And then I've done an international business master and managed to work in the sport industry. Even if I've been working in different industry, what I wanted always to focus my goal to is was helping people, and I always wanted to support people to achieve their own goals. So I realized that there was nothing that could do this mission on the sport industry at this moment. So that's the reason why I launched Outdooria, because most of the time parents are scared when the children want to work in the sport industry. They just think that there are two job opportunities, sport teacher or event manager. So that's why I launched Outdooria. It's in order to bring advice, to bring guides, and to help candidates to go through the career path. Outdooria is a place where we can also have schools asking for specific market analysis, and also Outdooria is a place where company find innovative way to contact new candidates. So actually, Outdooria, it's a place where we bring back the human in the center of the human resources departments for the sport industry.
Great, great. Is it mostly online services, or is it personal as well? It's a mix of both. How does that work?
It's a mix of both, actually. Some services can be done through Skype session, online session. With the COVID situation, we are now completely mastering all the online software, so it's possible like that. Or we can also do contact at our office in Geneva. It depends on the type of services. Where in the world you're based also, that will be one of the reasons why we'll do it online. And for the events, it will be definitely on the event place, of course.
And you, so what is, well, you're the CEO of the company, but effectively, what do you do there? You do the coaching, you organize events, your day-to-day work, what is it like?
Very intense days. That's actually what I'm doing for Outdooria is filling the needs according to the market. That's the main thing that I try to do, and that's also the reason why we are a little bit different from the opportunities on the market. Meaning that I'm often in discussion with my clients, of course, but I also do some market analysis. I do some volunteers work for the sport industry as well, for example, meaning that I can understand the expectation of the companies and of the consumer, meaning that I can do a lot of forecasts about the trends, meaning that thanks to this analysis and thanks to this understanding, I can help my clients, my students, in order to guide them for the next possibility for their jobs and for the sport industry trends as job opportunities.
Cool, cool. Just before I go to the next question, just a quick hello to Robert from Amsterdam, Sabine in Barcelona, Michele here in Switzerland, another one, Philip also from Barcelona. Salome, so it's in Zurich, she replied. Arit from Delhi in India. We have people watching us in Kosovo. Yeah, so it's people from all over. That's great. As a career coach, Vanessa, so what is the most common things that you help people with?
I would say that the most common thing that I try to make students and candidates understand is trying to understand the expectation of the company. That's the main things to do when you are applying to a job position, actually, because it will help you to understand which one of your added value you will promote during this interview or during this application. Because every time you're going to do an application or every time you're going to do an interview with a new company or at a new job position, you'll need to change and to adapt, of course, because you have done several things in your life. And it's not, you shouldn't put every time the same argument or the same added value in front of you, meaning that you need to understand what are the company's expectation in order to understand which one of your added value you will put on the front, because it's definitely what will make the difference. in order to do that, you need also clearly to understand your own added value, meaning that before even applying, it's a job that you need to do. It's a job about yourself. Meaning, understand what are your own added value on the market, understand the company expectation, and if you master this both aspect, then you will work your interview. Also, another advice or another thing that I could mention is that if you understand the recruitment process of the company, you will also be aware of how to approach the recruitment team members. Meaning that if you can understand that this company has received 500 or 600 applications for this job position, then you can be sure that we won't take more than 1 minute, maximum 30 seconds sometimes, to watch your files. Meaning that if you have done a 2-page CV, we're not going to be able to read everything. So be the one understanding what are your main values, try to put them on the top of your CV and organize it wisely, so my eyes, as a recruiter, will go directly to the main element, to the keywords that I want to find in your application, and that will be definitely a good way to promote yourself and to get a little bit out of the crowd. That's Joao. I think that's mainly the most common aspect that I mentioned during my advisor session with students, but also with adult candidates.
Yes, you mentioned, I think, several things there. Let me actually, as questions are arriving, we're going to ask some. So, Salome, what exactly should an applicant consider when doing a video CV? Please give steps and tips. This is definitely something that I know that you do in your trainings. So if you could maybe reply to that one.
Sure. That's a very good question, because video CVs are not yet often required by the companies. But even if it's not yet required, that's something that you can still add to your file, because it will be something that will be helpful for you if it's well done. So what to do in order to realize a good video CV? First, you need to focus, to do an analysis and research on the company and on the job position. Meaning you need to understand exactly what is your added value, again, for this job, because it will be the first thing that you are going to say at the video CV. No need to start with your name. It will be a little bit like the elevator pitch, but you need to start with something very catchy, something that makes the difference on your profile. Saying, for example, that you're an expert in logistics in sports industry, showing immediately that you have experience, and for example, maybe that you speak several languages. That could be your catchy introduction. If it's in the job description mandatory information, then you can say, my name is, I don't remember your name, and I don't know the name of the person who has the question, but you can say your name and then continue with some key details about yourself, selected according to the mandatory information mentioned in the job description, and conclude with something very catchy, something also that shows that you understood where you are going to be different elements in the company, where you are going to put your assets, and what concretely you will bring to the department. So introduction needs to be it's very important. It's like when I'm doing the student session currently, I'm saying that it's a little bit like when you are watching a Netflix video. If it's a new video, you don't know the series, you watch the 10 first seconds. If it's something that you don't like, you just switch to the new one and have a look at something else, because there are so many opportunities of movies that you're not going to lose time watching the rest of the movie you weren't attracted to. So keep that in mind. It's not exactly the same thing, of course, but the feeling is the same. Now with all the video, we have our attention getting very we don't get attend a long time, so we need to catch the attention immediately. Conclusion must be also very efficient, because if I look at just the beginning and just the end of the video, I need to have reason and motivation to have a look deeper at your CV. In the video CV, don't put all the experience that you have had, because if I want to have a look at that, I'll read your CV. What you need to do in your CV, a video CV, is showing your energy, showing that you can speak several languages. For example, you can say a part of your presentation in Russian. Don't forget to underscore and to put some English subtitle below.
Mhm.
But it will show that you have these skills, and it's not something that you just write. It's something that I can already evaluate. That's something very important. Also, something not to forget, it's to put your details at the end of the video. Because if I only have the video of you because someone in my company just transferred it to me, and that I don't know how to contact you, well, that's a shame, because you've made maybe a very nice presentation, but I don't know how to contact you. So that will be important. Also, if you are if you know how to manage video software, you can also sometimes add some keywords near your presentation, or add some video or some picture, but not too much. Should not be something like if you were watching a movie. It must be very professional. Select the keywords, the special keywords for each application, and you will have something that will have an added value on your application.
Cool, cool. Wow, that was a full tutorial of a video TV. I think we can finish the interview here. We post this video as a tutorial for video CV only. That's complete. That was great. It was great.
I could speak hours about the subject, so stop me.
No, no, no. That's fine. In fact, you also gave a broad sort of description of the main things that you help the candidates with, or your clients or people you support. But I would like to be a little more specific now. So you're going to take the stages of the recruitment process, from actually finding opportunities to apply,
Mhm.
to actually doing the CV, and then once you get to the job interview, maybe a few more tips there too. Let's start with the finding the opportunity. What kind of advice can you give about that? And I know that you have a few mandates for other clients, so you recruit not only for Outdooria, but also you have mandates from other clients. I would like to know, are people still hiring? Are there still opportunities there at the moment? What can you talk about that? But also more in general, how people find the opportunity.
Okay, so two big question in one question. So
Yes.
So first, I will answer about the tips, and then remind me to talk about the current situation and how I can also give some advice about it.
Okay.
First, how to find a good opportunity? That's a very good question. I have to say that most of the time, candidates just already lose themselves at this first step, because they try to apply to every position that looks good or sounds great, according to if it's sexy, or if it's a great brand or a great federation, meaning that everybody wants to work there. So of course I'm going to apply there as well. But actually it's not so easy, and you need to think about the process a little bit, like take a step back before launching any application, because before doing any application, just ask yourself, where do you want to go? What is your professional path that you want to build? What are your own balance between personal life and professional life? How do you resist to stress? Do you want to achieve a career very fast and evolve? Do you want to have high salary jobs and whatever the values of the company? You have to ask yourself all these kind of questions before even starting to apply anywhere, because this introspection work will help you to save time and energy first, and also maybe save your professional life somehow, because if you're going somewhere just because everybody else is also going there and it's sexy on the CV, that you are not happy, meaning that you won't be efficient at your job, meaning that people won't say a good recommendation about your work, which means that you might not have the next great job that really match your values and what you would like to do. because people will speak about yourself on bad ways. So realize that just following other dreams or just following other people like sheep can just also close the doors of your job, your personal perfect job. So that would be the first advice that I would say, that before applying, just make a strong evaluation about what are your own expectations. That's very important, actually. Takes time, not always very nice to do, because you might realize things about yourself that you wouldn't think about, but it's always good to know it. And it's better now than in 10 years, where you will maybe say, I lost years of my life, and I need to take a new direction.
So the first research one has to do is, instead of searching the markets, the opportunities, is really soul searching, getting to know themselves.
Exactly. The other advice that I could say is there are a lot of job opportunities in the sport industry, and there are a lot of jobs title that people don't know about, meaning that maybe you will be perfect doing something, but you don't even know that it's existing. So it's very important to do a strong research about all the possibilities as a job before even looking for a company, because it will maybe open some new opportunities, new doors. Maybe you will need to do just maybe a small complementary school, or not even. It depends on the case, but knowing all the job list, all the opportunities, will also maybe help you to realize that well, it's here that you want to go, and it will be easier to go maybe and apply to this position, because one of the things is that as everybody is applying to the same companies or to the same job position, because well, it's most of the time we find it more sexy to do some events in sports than accounting, I would say, I take it very the extreme. But also in between, there is a lot of other jobs that you need to be aware in order to find your job, your perfect job. I can help for that as well, of course.
And you asked me to remind you about the current situation, some opportunities.
Indeed, the COVID situation is changing everything. Of course, most of the companies have frozen all the hiring. Doesn't mean that you're not going to be selected at some point, but it's just that currently, for the next weeks, next months, I think, companies are not going to hire immediately, or not for something which will be a long mission, because we definitely don't know what the situation on the market will be for the next 6 months. And some companies will take some risk. Some other companies or federation will take less risk, because, well, not each company can allow themselves to follow the risk. So it will be actually a great opportunity now to first look at the startup and innovative companies, because, well, they might be either more impacted because there will be less money and less cash flow in the bank, but also maybe they will be the one that will adapt very fast to the situation, and maybe they will find a great innovative way to do sport, or to have new product, or to it's always when there are some difficult time that the best innovation just arrive on the market like that. So if you are aware of what's happening on the market, and curious enough, and that you also have the risk policy in your personality, don't hesitate to look also at these small companies, because it's definitely the great moment where they are going to maybe switch and grow very fast. For the biggest company, as we say, for example, federation are big ship to move, and it's always a little bit more take longer to change the strategy, or to change the path. I think that they will take more time to accept new applications. So take the time, take it as a benefit time. Be in contact with people that you don't know on LinkedIn and just ask about, well, we have sport interest in common. Just have a discussion. Let's share. What do you think about that? It's a great moment because people usually, if they are stuck at home, not everyone is able to work, and people need to communicate. It's human brain needs. So use it wisely. Don't disturb people, of course, but just use this need wisely. Also, not only get in contact with the person you don't know, it's also a great moment to contact again the person you have met during network events, for example. Meaning that if you discuss now, or if you keep discussing with people during the whole year, it's always better to ask after for a service, because maybe this person will be the next person who will hire someone. And if you spend time discussing with him or her during the year, it will be easier to ask for a favor and say, hey, by the way, I'm going to apply for this job. Just take a look at my profile. I might be the best person to fit the job. So
Cool.
that will be the advice and my
Cool.
point of view.
If I can give a little of my own personal input, now organizing the job fair that is coming up on in the 8th of May, what I found from recruiters is two things that are happening. Some are very uncertain; they don't really know where things are going to go, if they're going to have to let go people or not. It's possible, but everyone still has an idea of a few positions where they need to hire, right? Some are pretty much certain that they will be hiring for those positions. There are some selection process or recruitment process that are still open. However, they just don't have the timeline. It's something that they would like to start now in May or June. They have no idea when people can be trained again and can actually move and start working in the offices. So there's a lot of things stopped. So if we take, for example, we have Adidas, that's is one of the companies that will be joining us at the event. I think they posted 11 or 12 positions there. So specific positions for which they would like to meet people that would fit that profile. But in all of them, they say, listen, we want to talk to you, but this is for a future opportunity, because we don't really know when this actually is going to start. So there is, of course, planning there, but it's still a lot of uncertainty. Vanessa, we're going to jump now. As I told you, we did that introduction, and I asked you to talk about, of course, how to find the opportunity. You cover that. I was going to ask you for one killer advice for CV, but there's loads of questions arriving on that thing.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you a few. So Rasenio 10, what is the key to get through the first filter for a job interview? Of course, that being CV. Here, another one from Naveen. Vanessa, is there any specific information that should be mentioned in a CV while applying for a sports job? Is it different than corporate jobs? So it's not very clear if there's any difference. And just, I think, another one on CV. Oh, yes. Oh, so that was actually the video CV. If that should go with a cover letter and not a CV, is that correct? If you want to tackle that and then talk about CVs.
Yeah. So, well, the question about the CVs and cover letter, it's actually, of course, very important. Keep in mind, well, if there is only one thing to remember is interview process or recruitment process. It's the place, actually, it's just imagine it like if it was a mix between a sales and a date. In both situations, you want to show the best aspect of yourself, of your product, of who you are. And in both situations, you want to conclude on the positive feedback. So imagine that when we receive your CV, if you are only talking about yourself, saying, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that. Well, for the cover later, for example, well, it's nice, but that's not going. It's not going to make us curious about who you are, because you most of the time in your application you forgot that well, we are here to understand why you will be an asset and what can you bring to the company. It's the main question, and most of the time you don't answer this question because you are too focused on talking about yourself and showing all the nice things that you can do. But it's great. We are sure that you are a great person. We are sure that you have had a lot of different experience, personal, professional. What we ask you to do when you apply for a job position and when you send your CV and your cover letter is just help us to see what, according to you, will be the most important things from your personality and your experience that will best need to be put on the top in order to fulfill the needs of this job position. Meaning that, as we said, we don't have time to read each word of your CV. And well, it's a little bit also your job to say, okay, by the way, I've done a lot of things. I would like you to show this specific point because I think it will add something to your department that you don't have in, for example, an asset in your team that you don't have it yet. Also have a look at this experience, and don't forget that I can speak 4 languages. If you show that to me already at the beginning, well, I will read your CV a little bit more with a positive aspect, saying, okay, this person understood the company needs, understood that I need to see immediately what's important in your profile, and means that I already have the green light, in my head, and everything that I'm going to read just after will be just added value and complementary information. But in my mind, you already go on the next step, saying, okay, I'm going to have the next selection step, but I'm going already with this person because you took the time to personalize your profile and your application. You took the time to share key information, and actually, it's great. What you don't realize is that CV and cover letter, you take it like something very boring and that takes a lot of time, but it's an amazing opportunity. We are asking you to say, oh, by the way, I want you to have this information and this information about myself. So you have the possibility to show the best profile of yourself or the best aspect of yourself to me. That's the CV. It's all what it is about. So use it, and do the work of analyzing what makes you different from your other classmates for this job.
Yes. No, I just noticing that's. I mean, the talk is super interesting. There's loads of questions coming, but so we're 30 minutes in, and we didn't talk about the interview yet, which was the title of the talk. So I'm actually going to ask you to give perhaps then, let's say, 3 main killer advice for people to go and perform well in an interview. There is Jaime sends a hi to you, and so there is Hassan Baraka. There's many other people saying hi. There's a few other questions about CV that if we don't have the time to answer all now, I'll send that to you later.
Yeah.
But let's go to interview. So how can someone actually, if the CV was okay, they were invited to go to an interview, how can they nail it?
So indeed, first, just one of the key advice that I can give. It's simple, but not very often seen. It's just be happy, because if you are already in the interview, means that you've been through the CV section. Means that we have interest about your profile. So just arrive happy, not stressful, relax. It's really for everyone better if you arrive happy to be there, happy to postpone yourself and say, oh, I can imagine myself in this position. So let's start sharing and discuss. It's stupid, but it's very simple and it's efficient. just happy, smile, and show that you really want to be there. Because, well, at the end of the recruitment process, we will have the choice between 3 or 5 personality, 3 or 5 profile, and at the end, most of the time, the profile have the same background, almost the same years of experience, 1 or 2 difference, but they are quite the same because they match the job description expectation, of course. So what will make the difference will be your personality. So put all your confidence in yourself because you are here, because you have the skills. So just be happy to be there. Also, what you can do, I would say that imagine that it's an online interview, because we are also having this discussion about the iWorkinSport job fair, which is in a few days on May 8th. The advice that I can mention for the online interview is don't forget to look at, here, the camera, because most of the time you look at the video here on your screen, just having a discussion, because you're looking at the person on the screen like if it was a real discussion. But don't forget, the eye of the person is here in the camera. So create also a contact through this small detail, and use also the fact that you are online in order to have some notes around you. Not a lot of notes, because you get maybe lost if we need to answer some question. But being on an online interview, it's actually a great opportunity for you. You're at home, feeling confident, not stressful by the flight that you had to took or any other reason. You can have something to drink just in case you need to think about an answer, and take a few seconds to think about it without looking all crimpy. So having online interview, it's a great opportunity. So you can really use it on your advantage. Also, what I said to students this week is, thanks to the online interview, we know a little bit more who you are, because we will have a look at your place and see if you are more if you are organized or not, for example. But you also have the possibility to have a look at our places, meaning that if the person recruiting you is having a very clean desk, very well organized, most of the time you can be sure that the leverage that you have to use with this person is to speak about numbers, concrete facts, and don't talk too much. If you have someone with a picture on the front with I don't know, some very nice little things all around, a lot of paper, and maybe it's someone who is a little bit more on the emotion. So you will speak about values, about team building, about all the soft skills that you can bring to the team or to the company. So according to the person you are facing, online or in direct, don't forget to change your answers according to the person you have in front of you. So the killer advice that I can say is prepare yourself a lot in order to know exactly who is going to do the interview with you, what place in the company they are having, if it's a new person or if it's someone who has been living in the company for 10 years, for example. You won't discuss the same way, and the person will won't have the same impact on your application neither. Understand if this person is talking about John, then if you have a paper, on your side, or if you have done your research, you know that John is the head of the department. So meaning that, oh yes, you know who it is. So show that you already know the company, that you are already part of the company, and that it's just a question of maybe a few details, but you are already living through the company state of mind, through the company values, through the company environment and way of thinking. That would be the best advice that I could say. Make yourself in the company.
That's great. Awesome advice. Yeah, I personally enjoyed a lot. I took notes of a few of them. And
Okay.
people ask me, and I'm not that good at interviews. I'm not so very good at sending CVs either. That's why I started to invite specialists to do that. So that was a great talk. Another thing that I covered before, I hope that we can continue for another few minutes. is the elevator pitch that you mentioned
Yeah.
at the beginning of the talk.
Yeah.
And I saw you talking about that in lectures before. I would like you to explain a little more about that and maybe even give an example.
Okay. So indeed, it's the elevator pitch. Well, you can use it in an elevator if you want, but you can also use it more often in any other, for example, network events. You're all familiar with the situation. You're going somewhere you were invited to, personal or professional events, whatever. And there is someone asking, "Oh, by the way, what do you do in life or for a living?" And here, if you start explaining yourself and talking like 3-5 minutes about who you are and what you do in life, you can be sure that all the person around will say, okay, oh, I'm going to talk to the person over there discreetly. So you need to be catchy. You need to know who you are, and you need to have the elevator pitch prepared clearly. So maybe you will catch an opportunity that you wouldn't even think about, because maybe this person who has the question, maybe this person he's the head of a department, or maybe his wife, he's the head of one department that you would like to be part of. So make something simple which won't need to, well, you simple and short, meaning that you don't need to convince the person in front of you that you are doing that or that you are good at this competencies. Here you have a few seconds to make you memorable, meaning that if you prepare correctly, when you will be again in contact with the person, it will be easier to make you remember of and saying, oh, by the way, you remember we met at this event. And if it's done, if it's well done, it will bring good memories to the person. If
And
it's
basically,
not, yeah,
yeah, basically, a way that I understand that as well is that those first 20, 30 seconds is actually the opportunity to get those people attention for them to give you more time. Because if you kind of lose them, then it's really hard to recover. If
to
you
grab them again.
lose their attention,
Yeah,
if you get them in those 30 seconds, then it's much more likely that you get another 4, 5, 10 minutes with that person. That's the term, of course, is very super used. People looking for investors with startups or new companies, and the elevator pitch is super well known. But it's nice that people recognize that whenever they're their own brand in a way. So that's, I think, what they're trying to sell, if you will, to recruiters as well, or even I think we're talking even not only at a recruitment stage, but that the networking is really to when you're in that phase of creating opportunities for you.
exactly.
And
So
do you have an elevator pitch
yeah.
for you or for Outdooria?
Yeah, so just for the people who are here and have the question, what needs to be included is well, your name or the name of your service and company. What is your value proposition? A way to contact you, and also something as an action to conclude your sentence, of course. So first, before saying mine, do you have an elevator pitch, Joao? Do you have yours?
I don't. I should probably work on it. I kind of wear too
Yeah.
many hats with the consultancy and with the I work in sports. Maybe I should try to get one for each. I don't know. Otherwise, it
Yeah.
just gets too complicated.
Well, you can well, we'll discuss about that a little bit later, but what you can do as any entrepreneur, you have several value propositions, so you need indeed to have just one sentence, switching according to the situation and according to the person you are in front of you. So I will give an example for me, and for me as the CEO and co-founder of Outdooria. So what I can say if I want to promote my company. So usually I say that, well, imagine we have a discussion. So you ask me, Joao, what do I do in life? So, well, I would say, Joao, it's simple. I'm the person to call when you have any important decision to make about your career. I have a scientific background, and also I'm an expert in the sport industry. So make sure that you'll ask for Tribet when you call the Outdooria company. That's my name, Vanessa Tribet. So I'll be happy to be the steer for your next career steps and sport industry. Just have a call and let's continue the discussion at this moment. It would be a pleasure.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. I hope that people watching also took note of that. Vanessa, before we finish the
Yeah.
conversation, uh, I would like also to touch in the fact that you work in a very, let's say, male oriented industry. So sports has been sort of dominated by men for a long time. I think there's a huge trend of that changing, but of course, I think there is still a lot of inequality. Hopefully, we're going to go in the right path. I would like to know about your experience. I mean, how was that for you to enter that industry, and if it was difficult because you were a woman, and if that's the case, was it always difficult because of that, or are there times where also can be an advantage being the one of the few women in the room?
Indeed, that's an excellent question. It's a very trendy question, actually. Regarding my career, I would say that well, I've always considered myself a little bit like a man because I'm a little bit pushy and usually laughing a lot with the men. So being in a men environment didn't bother me. It was more like something that suit me correctly, but uh, it's difficult as a woman to have credibility because I think it's not only sport, of course, but in this kind of industry where there are mostly men at leading position. Well, it's great to have a girl chatting and having a girl during an event. It's great for the entertainment and having good time. Okay, when we want to talk and take decision, it will be more around men that around other men that this leading position men are going. So that maybe is a little bit the difficulty that I've been through on the sport industry is trying to stay nice, but also show that I can be a professional, that I have also as many assets as a man. And I would say that women need to have this double position as having a iron fist in a velvet glove, because it's a different approach that we need to have. Usually, I don't like to do a lot of differentiation as men and women because for me it should not even be a question. But let's say that it's not because usually women are more smiling that we don't approach any problematics the same way as men, that we don't have the same value, and that will be maybe the thing that I could say is that men shouldn't judge too fast new women when we enter in a room because it's not because she's smiling that she's stupid. It's not because she's strict that she is a tomboy. It's not because she's young that she's going to live in a maternity leave, or it's not because she's old that she's going to have bad mood all the time. So it's often things that we hear about women and at important leading position. So the best thing to do is just actually understand that we have usually complementary skills and that we should all work together for ourselves, for the team, but also because it's proven, scientific proof, that when there are women in a team, the correct balance, the company is just flying with the benefits because it brings just another approach and it's a combination which is good. So for me, I would say that I've never felt that it was an advantage because I don't want to play that cards or that kind of game. It has always been somehow a fight, and it has always been nice to see other women in the company or in in the field. So indeed, what we need to have is just a great discussion without even facing the question of gender. It's just, let's just talk competencies, and that's it, actually. A good friend of mine just once said that we will have equality or equity. I would say that equity is better than equality. When we will have women, leading women, which are not good at their position. And at first I didn't understand this sentence, but now I do. And indeed, it will be a perfect equity time when we have bad women at at leading position. But that's
Good.
about it here.
It makes sense. Um, Vanessa, before we finish this, I want to tell people that you're going to be one of the participants at the
Yeah,
upcoming digital fair, the iWorkinSport virtual job fair, right? And you've been there before, not to the digital one, because this is a new thing that we're doing. But you participated in the previous 2 years, right? We launched in 17, but you were with us in 18 and 19, and you did a bit of both. In the first year, you were more just coaching people there, and in the second year, you did a bit of that, and but also we're recruiting. And this time, you're also going to be wearing both hats, right? Outdooria will
yeah,
be there recruiting not only for your company, but if I understand well, for a few mandates, as you mentioned, but also you'll be providing some assistance, some coaching there as well. What was your, if you want to share your experience there before, and what are your expectations for this digital one?
yeah. So indeed, I've been already through the process of the iWorkinSport job fair. Was a great opportunity for me as for Outdooria, but also for me as a person, because it was a great opportunity to meet other leaders in the sport industry. You first year you had FIFA, UEFA, big federation, big companies. I won't mention all of them, but as a professional from this industry, it was an amazing opportunity, because you organize also the day before a meeting with all the people having a booth there. So it's an amazing network opportunity. So that's the first thing that will come to my mind when I think about it. Regarding the opportunity for the students, it's absolutely great. I think that if I was a student now, I would love to participate at this event, because just in one day you have the possibility to connect with main companies from the sport industry, have a direct access to the decision maker of the recruitment process. So it's something which we cannot find very often in the world. So I say that's the main aspect from both perspective, which is great. And as me recruiting and me giving advice on the previous years, actually you helped me to feel a little bit more the market. Remember when I said that my role at Outdooria was also to feel the needs of the market.
Mm-hmm.
The first year I had from the morning until the end, and even after the session, there was a huge queue. I don't know if you remember, a huge queue in front of my booth. And
Yeah.
at this point, I realized how students need to have personal advice. And it's something clear that appears in my mind thanks to you during this session. So thank you. The other thing is also for me, which was great, is that all the students have made great feedback about the session we have had. So it also opened doors to me to work with different schools who also were there, which also were there. And for example, CIS, ISTS, AU Business School, we're working together, and I'm teaching there thanks to this job fair. So also thank you, Joao, for that.
No, I'm happy I could
Yeah.
help them. To find you.
It's a good way. But yeah, and this year I'll be doing both activities. So I'll be happy to help students to give additional advice. Of course, I'll be happy to recruit for my mandate, but also for Outdooria. I don't know exactly when the mandate will start. Well, for me at least, for my open position, but that's definitely skills that we need to develop Outdooria. So I'll be looking very deeply to your profile. I've already received a lot of applications, so that's great.
Cool.
And for also my mandate, yeah, I'm going to.
Is there any advantage for you being digital? Is there a good side to that? Because I mean, the way we feel it, we wanted to do both, right? We wanted to do the events in now in May, as we always do. It would be the fourth edition at the Swiss Tech.
Yeah.
But we were already planning to do the virtual fair in September. So that's why we were able to actually do it now, because we were already planning it, we were testing it, we had the platform, and we were able to bring it forward to May. But I mean, you won't have really the handshake, the eye to eye.
Yeah.
But perhaps there are a few advantages of doing digitally as well.
Indeed, well, advantage of being there as a human being sharing a moment. Of course, it's great opportunity, but also being online in the online version, it's great because it can allows you to be maybe more efficient for the one who are scared about the interview. Have just the fact that you have some notes prepared around your computer will allows you to, take your breath, take your time, just if you are stressed, and find again your base. If you are just in front of the person on the booth and direct, sometimes you just get scary because there are a lot of people around. You see the eye of the recruiter saying, "Okay, what's next? What's your answer?" And you can just also sometimes lose your confidence as any other interview. So having the opportunity to be online makes me think that candidates will have more confidence and more ability to show the best of themselves. When they are in direct, they can really share human moments and important human being moments. When they are online, they can have all the tools they need in order to be the best person they are and the best competitors on the job fair.
Yeah. Also, I think, I mean, it would be nice for me sort of to clarify also that a lot of the interaction there is by text and chat, because online, so it goes fast, so keeps the conversation. So if someone, a recruiter is busy, you can leave him a message. He or she will reply a few minutes later. And of course, there's the video interviews. But that is part of the interaction. A lot of that will happen texting as well. And just to clarify, listen, I think it's been great. Thank you so much for doing this and participating. I think people really enjoyed it. There were lots of comments coming in. We won't be able to. So here there's another one. Nélio, grande Nélio,
Oh, great.
lots of super
Thank
value.
you.
Vanessa. There's a few others as well. There's maybe some questions that we didn't have the chance to answer. Another thing that I would like to mention is that you are providing already some help to people that are preparing to go to this virtual job fair. It will happen in almost 2 weeks. It will be 2 weeks tomorrow. So you offered very kindly, you reduced sort of your race. You gave a big promo for all the candidates that are attending. They received already an email about it, but if they can't find it, it is in the description of the video here, both on Facebook and YouTube, so they can click it and get in contact with you there. Is there anything that you would like to talk about about what is the training like?
Yeah, but actually it's all the person who had questions that I couldn't answer in only 1 hour already. Time is flying. If you want to have personalized answers, if you want to have me reading your video, your CV or your cover letter and giving you really specific advice about what you write and one specific company you would like to apply to, well, this session will be perfect for you. It's half an hour, so it will be very intensive, but sometimes, you just need to have just a small thing said, and it will just open your brain on several opportunities, and makes you understand what's just a small details you need to change. So that will be very very efficient for you if you want to be a little bit more on the top of yourself for the interview during the job fair.
Okay. Vanessa, thank you so much for sharing a lot of value with everyone watching. Let me say bye to you. I'm going to finish here, just addressing everybody that is still watching. And really big thank you to all the questions that arrived. It's super cool to do that. Learning, making a lot of mistakes, sometimes not knowing where to look at, but I think it's cool to be able to bring value from people that have been in the industry, helping people and learning to do something new at the same time. So don't be afraid. That's my advice to you. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. If you liked what you saw and want to receive the alerts to watch next videos, don't forget to, it would be great if you gave a like, but also to subscribe. As I said, if we get to 500, there will be a free ticket for this. We are pretty much in every social media, of course, YouTube, Facebook, but also LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter as iWorkinSport, in all of them. And this is our website if you want more information about any of our events, anything that we do, and who's going to be the next interviewee next week. Just check it out. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you very soon. Bye-bye.